0 o'clock introduction. Hello and welcome back to the deep dive. Over the past several weeks, the world has been sifting through the massive document dump known as the Epstein files. We're talking about millions of pages emails, flight logs, and contact lists. And while the headlines have been dominated by the big names, it's the small, mundane details that often tell the most chilling story. Today, we are doing something a little different. We are going to put aside the conspiracy theories and the political mudslinging, and we are going to look at the evidence. Specifically, we are going to examine 17 of the most revealing emails from Jeffrey Epstein's personal correspondence. Now, a warning. The content of these emails is disturbing. But we are not here for sensationalism. We are here for context. These emails provide a unique window into Epstein's mindset, his methodology, and his relationships. More importantly, they offer a preview of what the federal sex trafficking trial against him would have looked like had he not died in a jail cell in August 2019. This is the evidence prosecutors would have used to prove intent, conspiracy, and knowledge to a jury. Let's dive in. 130 Part 1, The Mindset and the Method. To understand the legal weight of these documents, you have to understand what prosecutors need to prove. In a conspiracy or sex trafficking case, proving a meeting of the minds is crucial. You need to show a pattern of behavior. One of the earliest emails in this batch, sent just after his first conviction in Florida, sets the tone. In 2014, an associate wrote to Epstein, "Thank you for a fun night. Your little girl was a little naughty." Now, we don't know who sent this, but think about the context. This was sent after Epstein had already been labeled a sex offender. For a prosecutor, this isn't just a crude joke. It's evidence of a continued state of mind. It shows that the people in his orbit were comfortable speaking this way, reinforcing the idea that this was an environment where boundaries were systematically dismantled. This is reinforced by another email, where Epstein tells a contact, "Not a good idea for you to come today. Too many wash people think you look too young." Legally, this is fascinating. If this case went to trial, the prosecution would argue this demonstrates consciousness of guilt. It shows he was aware of how he was perceived and was actively managing his exposure. He knew the optics. 315 Part 2, The System of Recruitment. Perhaps the most damning pieces of evidence are the ones that show a system. In April 2009, Epstein asks a contact, "How old is this one?" The response comes back, 19. Epstein replies, "Bring it to New York, please." This exchange is a prosecutor's dream. It removes the ambiguity. It shows a direct request to bring a young woman specifically age-questioned into his orbit. It supports the testimony of survivors who described a pipeline of individuals being brought to his residences. This idea of rewards also appears. In one exchange, Epstein promises a trip to New York to a young woman, but with a condition. He writes, "Your trip will depend on how sexy they are," referring to photos she was sending. In a legal context, this is critical. Sex trafficking charges often hinge on the concept of quid pro quo, something of value exchanged for commercial sex acts, or the recruitment for them. A jury would look at this and see a direct link, compliance in exchange for travel. 5 o'clock Part 3, The High-Profile Connections. Of course, we have to address the names that keep appearing. One of the most talked about figures in these files is the anti-aging info Peter Rashia. The emails between Rashia and Epstein are juvenile and bizarre, but one line stands out. In 2015, Rashia writes to Epstein, "The biggest problem with becoming friends with you, the life you lead is so outrageous, and yet, I can't tell a soul." Statements like this are what investigators call consciousness of a secret. While Rashia has publicly stated he was ashamed of the banter and knew nothing of criminal activity, this kind of language feeds into the narrative of a hidden world. It has already had real-world consequences, leading to him stepping down from corporate roles and facing significant public scrutiny. Then there is the mention of Diddy. In a 2013 email, a mutual contact mentions to Epstein, "Went to P. Daddy party, met some interesting people. Didn't see Elon though." This isn't evidence of a crime, but it is evidence of overlapping social circles. It connects two of the most infamous legal cases of the decade, Epstein and Diddy, in the same document. And the mention of Elon Musk is equally intriguing. While Musk has vehemently denied ever visiting the island, the emails show a persistent attempt to connect, with Musk asking which day would have the wildest party. 645 Part 4, The International Web. The files also exposed the international scope of Epstein's network. One email chain involves a discussion about bringing a young woman from Moscow. The contact asks if they can come to see Epstein, calling him a friend from the Gilded Youth from Moscow. This is interesting for two reasons. First, it shows the global reach of the recruitment. Second, it touches on the persistent speculation regarding Epstein's ties to Russian intelligence. While there is no smoking gun here, the frequency of these contacts adds to the mosaic of questions that investigators have been asking for years. Perhaps the most politically explosive email involves former UK Ambassador Peter Mendelsohn. After Epstein was released from prison in 2009, he emailed Mendelsohn saying he was free. Mendelsohn allegedly replied, "How shall we celebrate?" Epstein's response was a crude joke referencing to strippers, to which Mendelsohn allegedly replied, "Naughty boy." This exchange is so significant that it has triggered a criminal investigation in London for misconduct in public office. It shows how these emails are not just gossip. They are being used as the basis for real-world legal action against powerful figures. 8 o'clock conclusion. So, what do we take away from these 17 emails? First, they strip away the myth of Jeffrey Epstein as just a wealthy financier who hung out with the wrong crowd. They reveal a man obsessed with youth control and the commodification of women. Second, they serve as a powerful reminder of what a trial could have looked like. We often wonder how prosecutors build these complex conspiracy cases. The answer is here. Email by email, line by line, building a pattern of intent that is incredibly hard to deny. The release of these files was meant to bring transparency. And while no new criminal charges have been filed from this batch, the historical record is now clearer than ever. We see the mindset, the methods, and the web of connections that defined one of the most disturbing criminal cases of our time. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive. If you want to stay updated on this story and others like it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I'm Rana Asif, and I'll see you in the next video.